Hey folks, happy April. You made it through March and here we are in spring and I think we're kind of moving on to this season. What do they say? April showers and flowers and something like that, right? So I hope everybody's doing well. This month, as we talk about our iSchool newsletter and some technology topics, got a bunch of Google focused feature updates and some tips and tricks that we might have discussed before, but are timely and worthy of bringing up again. So I'll dive right in. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Again, we talk all the time. If you need any help from technology, always use the support ticket system as our first level of entry to ask questions or to report an issue. And I'll just reiterate that ask questions piece. A lot of things that we can respond to are just simple questions, or Brian said something like this at some point, but I forget, or I knew I could do this and this was possible. How do I do that? Feel free to use the ticket system for questions and not just problems. And of course, use our training options as well. We've done a bunch of face-to-face, in-person, and remote sessions these last couple of weeks, covering a variety of different topics, such as doing student data tracking on a Google form that automatically dumps into a spreadsheet. We can use the Explore option to do some quick analysis, gathering evidence to support your SMART goals, and have a nice workflow for keeping track of that stuff. Recording audio on a Chromebook and embedding that audio in a Google slide for student presentations. Lots of different examples of things that we've worked with you guys on. And if it's something that is of interest to you, or you feel like you need a little extra hand to learn about or to perfect, that's what we're here for. We're here to come alongside you and learn that stuff together. So feel free to reach out, tickets or training appointments, and we'll be more than happy to connect with you that way. All right, so for some Google updates, you probably noticed that there's a little bit of an interface update in Google Drive, and as you work in Google Docs, they kind of did a little subtle facelift here. Not a ton of new features that it will change the way we flow and move through things, but a couple quick things that are interesting. One is that in our drive or shared drives, they've added these checkboxes next to items here, and that can be a much easier way to select a bunch of things at once and then go to our triple dots and do some actions from there, rather than having to do all our shift click or control command click type of stuff. So definitely take advantage of that. Of course, you still can do that shift click or whatever to kind of gather a bunch of different things, but take advantage of that check mark. And then again, pay attention to those actions as you have things selected from there. The next thing that's coming that we don't not all of us see yet, but it will come in the future, is they're adding what they call search chips as part of our drive experience. So previously we just had to use that search and drive at the top with the filters and kind of guide through a search that way if we're looking for something. Coming soon, right underneath my drive, they're adding these little bubbles that we can click on to quickly find different types of files, whether it's a form or a spreadsheet or a PDF. We can sort quickly and filter by that date of things were changed or by the people we're involved with here. So just a nice enhancement to the way you can find things throughout the Google space. I know it gets a little crazy sometimes with all the different things we come flying in. So look for that to come. The'll just be these little bubbles that show up under my drive. The next couple examples that I wanted to kind of show and explore together today is related to Google Docs and some formatting ideas. So they did, just like they did an interface update for Google Drive, they kind of changed sheets and slides and docs a little bit too. They cleaned up this top bar a little bit. They changed where some of the buttons are. Like, for example, if you're looking for the history of the document, you can just click on the little clock in the corner here, and that shows you all of those details. So you can go back in the version history and see all those things. The other thing that you'll notice too is that this format bar that goes across, while it does have most of the things you might want, it changed the order of them a little bit. And if you ever are in the space where it will kind of hide some of the options you think of, just pay attention to those triple dots that we see everywhere, where anything that you don't see across the board, it will be available to you from that little more option in the corner. a quick thing that they added is how we work with headings and how you work with table of contents. They did a little bit of update for us here, and I want to spend a little time talking about headings because this is one of the things that I don't know if everybody takes advantage of and knows is available. So I just have some generic text in here as a multi-page document, and I'm going to work with the headings that are built into Google as a quick way to format and organize the content that I have here. And I'm not going to do anything super creative, but I'll just say, you know, this is a title, this is a subtitle, right? Just get some words in here, and I'm just going to pop down here and just say heading here, and we'll come and we'll do a heading here again, right? Just for some quick ideas. Another heading, right? So I just have text. It's not formatted at all. I just was simply typing on the screen. And this is one thing that's built into Google and has been for a while, where anytime you have text in here, yes, naturally, we can increase the font size, change things manually from the buttons that are over here. But we can also just take advantage of the styles that they have built in, where I can just click on this and pick from one of these default things just by selecting it. I click on the line that I want to change and I choose the appropriate style. And what's great about this is it automatically formats the document for me. So I don't need to make a title bigger and bolder. I don't need to, make the subtitle a little more subtle. I can just click on a line, I can choose a heading and go through my document this way. So that's great. It's a nice, easy, clean, really clean way to build headings. But you'll notice that as I'm doing this, we have this summary that gets built on the side. And that kind of gives us a hint that when we do these heading styles throughout our document, it does something extra than just simply changing the look of our format. It kind of adds a key to each one of these items that I put in here, where Google starts to build a document for us just simply by adding these styles in here. We'll call this one a subheading, and I'll do heading 2 as an example. And so you'll notice that it's kind of building a document outline just simply by choosing the styles that are built in. That's awesome. And so as a viewer of a document, or especially if you're collaborating with a bunch of people, I can just click on a heading and it just jumps me right to that spot. So it's like I'm building almost like I'm building a web page with hyperlinks. It's a great tool to kind of quickly jump around and move and organize a document. But then it does go beyond this as well, where especially on a long document where I go farther and multiple pages, there are times where a table of contents is needed. And that's the other thing that kind of gets built automatically based on you using headings in a document. Where if I'm going to just put this to a new page, I'll insert a page break here just to put that down. So I have a cover page where I have the body of the content coming down here, but I want to put a table of contents in the top. I'm going to insert a table of contents, and I have a couple quick choices for how I want that to look. I'll do the one in the middle here for an example. And this is what happens when we use headings through a document. The Google Doc is like, I know where all your headings are. I'm just going to throw them in the document for you. So I don't need to manually type in the page numbers that they show up in. I don't need to format it necessarily. I just need to use headings throughout and insert a table of contents, and it's ready for me to go. And what's new in Google Docs is they give us much more formatting choices for how these look. And so if I click on my table of contents and click the triple dots that we're so familiar with at this point and go to more options, I get this little sidebar over here that lets me change some quick formatting for how do I want these to look. What types of headings do I want? Maybe I only want the main ones. I don't need the secondary ones. I can choose that, and then I can choose some quick indentation for formatting. Super easy, super quick. All you have to do is simply type your document and then take advantage of your heading styles that are built in. Awesome stuff. Now, I could spend a lot of time talking about this because we're not stuck using the formatting that we have here. If you want to spend some time in a training session with us, you can take the concept of headings and style them and make them your own. And so, like in our internal department stuff that we have for our documentation, we customize a document that has its own styles that then automatically gets dumped into a table of contents. And so you can really take ownership and control over those styles and incorporate it as part of your branding or your flow as you create documents. So definitely hit us up if you'd like to explore that. The next thing they updated for us in Google Docs is working with tables. I know we've talked about this before, how we can insert tables and kind of build a quick grid of formatting within a document. Or we're just doing some collaboration and we have just a quick idea of needing to delegate some tasks here, right? And so in the past, they've added options like sorting a table based on the data that's in here, quick options to insert, quick options to select or to move rows around, all that kind of stuff. What they've added though now in this new update is that under this table options button or table properties, if you click on it, they give us some nice formatting options that they didn't have before. So just quickly, by working within a table, we have table properties. We can change the alignment of the table, so we can move it left, center, right. We have the option of defining a column width. And so if we know specifically we want something to be a certain size, we can define that and keep that ready to go that way. We also have the same concept with defining some row heights or pinning the top if we have a multi-page table that goes on and on. Working with individual boxes or cells, how does the text go aligned with it, top, middle, or bottom? Changing the color of them. So maybe we want some high contrast here to go with a different look just to stylize things. We have the ability to do that really quickly. So take advantage of this table properties. And again, if you don't see this option right away when you are selecting your table, just remember that the stuff is probably buried behind triple dots. And you'll find it there. All righty. And then the last thing I wanted to share with us, it actually came out from a little issue we had last week with one of our website resources where we had a morning for a little bit where one of our website resources was down. And at first it looked like the internet was down for folks, or we couldn't get into things. But just knowing that we could go to HPS Bookmarks and either access the ClassLink Launchpad, which as we talk about a lot is your home base for every digital resource we have in district. Or visiting Google directly to get to things. We can get into a lot of stuff from there. But it made me think of a little tip and a trick that we'd encourage you to be aware of when it comes to working in Google Chrome, and it's what they call managing the startup tabs, which means that, okay, when I start Chrome, what shows up for me right away? And by default, a lot of us just have this launch pad here, which is great because, yes, it gets us to the quick things, SchoolBrains, Google, ticket system, iSchool training, ClassLink, all the things. But sometimes you need to get to other places, right? And if this is what you're doing at first, but I need to get into my email, I need to look at my calendar, I want to get into documents right away, you can define what Chrome does when you start up. And so just a simple setting, back to our triple dots again. So I'm in Chrome, I go to triple dots, I go to settings. And on the left-hand side, I have an on startup option. And what we have the ability to do here is to define the specific page or set of pages that opens whenever we turn on Chrome. And so this is very much a personal preference driven thing where what do you want to see or have automatically available to you when you open up? For me, what makes sense is to have the regular Launchpad, to have ClassLink, to have my Google Drive, to have SchoolBrains, and our support ticket system open right away, because those are the main things I'd use. But you might want to add a new page, and maybe you would do Gmail. Maybe you have a task website that you use. Maybe it's the curriculum website that you want to have access to all the time. You can either type in or paste in a URL in here to add to this list. And then obviously we can edit and remove things as you see fit. But whatever you define here and in the order that you define them is what Chrome will automatically start up for you whenever you turn on your computer and open it up. So it can be a great way to get to all your resources quickly. You don't have to go through all the clicks to set up your tabs. You're there, you're done. and you can be a little more efficient that way. Awesome. So I hope this is helpful. Just kind of covering some of that Google stuff there. As always, again, just hit us up with support tickets or training appointments if you have any questions or thoughts or things you want to explore. Enjoy the month of April. Enjoy the couple breaks that you have coming up, and we'll be sure to see you soon.